Love to see the little 10-yard sprint when Jeff saw the light come on. I mean, it was a 10-yard sprint for you to get back in the studio.
Pretty good time, right?
Yeah, I sprinted over the weekend.
You did?
I did. I had about a 30-yard sprint that I had to make. The gate was open in my backyard, and I had just let the dog out in the backyard, and I realized that gate was open, and I sprinted to get to the gate before the dog did.
How'd it feel?
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I hated running like nobody hated running when I played football and all that. I could not stand running. Hated it. But it was the football skill, the pursuit drills that we ran my senior year that enabled me to cut off the angle and get to the fence gate before the dog did, thus keeping her in the yard and keeping her in my neighborhood.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you. I felt pretty good about it. Yeah. When I was done, I was completely out of breath, and I thought that maybe my foot was going to fall off the next day. But beyond that, I was good. 248-539-9797, the telephone number. All right, I said that there's slight news on the Tigers trade front over the weekend. Not much, but what we're learning is that there are some teams that are at least kicking the tires on some Tiger players. Apparently, the Dodgers are scouting Shane Green. This, according to Anthony Cafardo, he's pitched okay. Shane Green this year, he's either been really awful, giving up home run balls, or he's been shutting guys down. He's not your prototypical closer at all, but he'd be a nice piece for like an eighth inning guy.
Oh yeah, or even in the mix. Considering, and I don't love the setup closer thing, but Shane Green and a nice stable of relievers come in and get two big outs in a big game. I think he could do that. Yeah,
and look, the Tigers had a piece like that last year that they traded away in Justin Wilson, and they got him a really nice haul in return. Do I think the Tigers get the same haul in return for Shane Green? No, I don't. I think it was a different circumstance last year with a team that had that need. Plus, they packaged Justin Wilson with Alex Avila as well, so that made it easier to move. But just knowing that there's some interest in Shane Green, okay, I think Shane Green probably gets dealt, and I think Liriano probably gets dealt.
Fires, I would assume, too.
I'm hoping Fires does, and that might be the extent of the trades. I don't think Martin gets dealt. Look, if Martin's getting on base and he's not stealing bases because he's worried about his hamstring, no team in the league wants a guy who's worried about his hamstring when he's supposed to make his bones with his feet.
I don't disagree. Like, I think Martin would be a nice guy off the bench. I think Martin's got a little pop. Martin can obviously play left, center.
Yeah, he's a heck of an outfielder.
Probably play right if you needed him to. So I think Martin, if you give him away, which is for minimal prospects, I say do it. See, that's the thing. If you're Al Avila, I know you ask high as we get closer. It's kind of like buying tickets on StubHub, right? When you buy tickets to a concert, you never buy early because they're always high. But you wait a couple hours before the concert gets going, and those prices go down drastically. I think if you're Al Avila, with guys like Martin Iglesias, because you're not going to re-sign him, obviously Fires, despite having another year of control, and Liriano, I think you essentially give them away for minimal return as long as you're getting something for them.
Well, because that's the thing. What's the something you're getting?
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does you no good to keep these guys. They're not going to help you win. You don't need to win. Just get something, and maybe that something turns into something.
But if you're the Tigers organization, you're scouting these guys, the minor leagues, and scouring the Dodgers organization or the Red Sox organization because apparently they're interested in Liriano. And the names that are being thrown back at you are guys that you're like, oh, there's no chance in hell is this guy going to do anything to matriculate through the minor leagues and make it to the major leagues. There's no way. This guy can't make it to the major leagues.
Make the trade.
But for what purpose then?
What do you mean what purpose? I mean, there's always a chance. Gator, listen, like Francisco Liriano, he's free agent after this year. He's not in your long-term plans. So let's say you get a guy, like you say, that will never make the bigs or small chance to make the bigs. Would you rather have a guy in your system with a small chance to make the bigs and maybe he shocks you and matures and grows and gets physical talent? Or would you rather hang on to Francisco Liriano, who's gone after this season? It makes no difference.
I don't want to hang on to these guys either.
Right, so just trade everybody.
But I'm just saying that, when your return could be somebody who's pitching in low A ball who has, a high 6 ERA, walks everybody he sees, can't strike out anybody. I mean, I'm getting rid of him for that.
Yeah.
I may as well.
Why hang on to him?
Because what I'm saying is I may as well hang on to him through August and see if they can move him again in August.
Jeffrey Luhnow, the architect behind the Houston Astros, he was asked recently, like, how'd you do it? What was the toughest part about the rebuild? What was the most important part about the rebuild? Because as you know, the Astros were really bad. And he said, and maybe it was just coach speak, I don't know, but he said, knowing that every move mattered. Every little move, whether it be a waiver acquisition, a Rule 5 pick, international money, whatever it was, every move matters to get just a little bit better. You are better with a scrub prospect that maybe someday makes it to the big league, or I don't know, makes it to AAA and helps that team out, rather than keeping Francisco Liriano.
Or you're better for the moves that you don't make. That's something else. Look, I'm not advocating hang on to these guys. Don't get me wrong. All right. I'm just saying that the reality is what you get in return probably isn't much. Let's go to the phones. 248-539-9797. Doug is on the cell phone. Doug, welcome to 97.1 The Ticket.
Well, good morning, Jeff Scott. How goes the day?
All right, you?
Dougie, it's been a while.
Good. I was on with the screener when you said your guy under the radar, Jeff, so I was just curious of who that was before the break.
I just think the one guy you can actually get something for a lot for is Joe Jimenez.
Maybe because he's an all-star, I guess. I think the guy you can really get a lot for, and it's couched by, do you really think he's going to be here in 4 years when the Tigers compete? And that's James McCann.
Ooh.
He's a quality catcher that catches well, does what he does, and for example, the two guys in Seattle that are chasing Houston are both hitting under 200. I've looked around the league. Is Gary Sanchez going to come back for
the Yankees?
For the Yankees, I don't see them paying McCann $3.5 million in arbitration next year because he's catching near 100 games. And I think he's a lot more valuable than people are giving him credit for.
Well, I guess the reason that people aren't giving him credit, Doug, is because he has gotten worse as his career has kind of gone on. Last year, he had an okay year. His OPS was at 733. But the previous 3 years, it was at 583. Well, I won't even count that because he only played 9 games. 683, 629, 733 last year, and he's down to 608 this year.
And I guess that's true to the extent that
you can't hit right-handed pitching.
James McCann's the kind of guy that came into a team that was, perennial contenders, and I'm going to say a whole new pitching staff for him, and pretty much from the jump, we're going to be 4th place or 5th. I would think that somebody would give more than you think they would want for a Mike Zunino who is going to come up and strike out in a big situation when Seattle needs a win in late August or September. If you think McCann should be here in 5 years, then take advantage of the poor year and give him 7 years. And
they're not going to pay him. They don't want to pay anybody. They're not going to pay Castellanos. They're not going to pay Iglesias. So I'm with you. If you can trade him, trade him. The problem is, I'm with Gator. I don't think he's going to really get you a whole lot in return. Plus, you give me the option, Gator, of having Mike Zunino coming off the bench or being at the plate in a key situation, or James McCann, especially against the righty. I'm going to probably take Zunino, despite him striking out a ton.
I think one thing Doug did, which is smart, is that is projecting, okay, in 5 years, I'll just say projecting in 3 years, because I think in 3 years the Tigers can contend. I don't see James McCann being part of this team in 3 years. I just don't.
No.
Offensively, he is limited, and he's limited really. He's a platoon catcher, I think, at best, because you play him against left-handed pitching.
But he's not a great. And I like McCann a lot.
He's
this is what we
defensively because
he's not a great defensive
but he's not
catcher,
great.
Yes.
No, he's not. His defensive WAR is 0.6 this year.
I think at times he calls a good game. But you know what's interesting to me? If you listen to Gardenhire, and Gardenhire usually doesn't pull punches when it comes to what he thinks. Like, I'll give you a prime example. The other day, Joe Jimenez got lit up by the Indians. And, oh my God, it was Yonder Alonso, I believe, that he was up against. And he threw, I want to say, 7 or 8 fastballs in a row. Right?
And
then finally,
eventually he was fouling him off, and he got his timing, and he threw another one. It was one too many.
He took it the other way. Nice piece of hitting, right? And I mean, and Gardenhire is like, dude, you got to spin one in there. You got to throw something off speed. And Jimenez, it's his choice, right? He can shake you off, throw something off speed. But
And you're a
that's
second-year player.
McCann's job. And
There's a lot of jobs there, and we have to get to Champ and Chump here. I want to address that because it was something I was watching over the weekend. I want to get to that as well. Let's start with Champ.
The champ is here!
My champ of the week is going to be just look. I was so happy to sit in front of my TV yesterday after 1 o'clock and watch the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Finally, for the first time in a while, watching somebody that I really wanted to see in there, and that's specifically Alan Trammell. The guy spent his life as a Detroit Tiger. His whole career was with the same team. I love that. And that's why it's one of the reasons why I get really defensive when people start talking about trading away younger players, because that's the business side of things. And I'm like, whoa. I kind of like, or even trading away veterans. Guys have been with the teams forever, like Zetterberg. They're like, oh, trade Zetterberg, get him out of here. I kind of like having a guy that spent his whole career here. And Alan Trammell spent his whole career as a Tiger. He's in a Hall of Fame, and I love it. Your champ?
my champ, and you kind of took mine because I love that Tram's in there as well. But my champ is, you know what? Matt Patricia. You want to know why? Because they're hitting. They're hitting and they're violent. And listen, maybe I'm buying into it. I have no idea. But they put on pads for the first time yesterday, and every player that talked about how this was missing in the past. They did a drill that Jim Caldwell never did. It was called the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah,
and you know what? I like that at least early on. I know Rod Marinelli did some of this too. I mean, Patricia's involved, and he's a big part of being more physical, more violent. I kind of dig it. So I'll give Patricia, at least for the time being, my champ.
My chump of the week?
Man, you a chump.
Saw this over the weekend. Braves and Dodgers are going at it, and Braves announcer Joe Simpson was very upset
It's funny.
with the Los Angeles Dodgers and for taking batting practice in T-shirts. He thought it was disrespectful to the game and embarrassment, and just laid into him during the actual television broadcast to the point where they actually had video highlights of what he was talking about. So this wasn't off the cuff. This was a prepared statement that Joe Simpson wanted to make. I didn't think it was that big a deal. Guys want to wear T-shirts when they're hitting home runs in batting practice. So be it. I don't really care. But the thing was that it was a Chase Utley that had a T-shirt on that was to fight cancer. So now Joe Simpson looks like a complete ass for basically yelling about somebody wearing a T-shirt when it's a T-shirt that's a foundation to fight cancer.
Yeah, he called them unprofessional.
Yeah.
And who cares what you're hitting or wearing in batting practice? Real quick, my chump is every stinking baseball writer who has a Hall of Fame vote that left Lou Whitaker off the ballot after the second year. Lou Whitaker, 2001, he got 2.9% of the vote.